Malick genius or overrated? Is his genius somewhat created by his mystique, or is it earned?
I think it's earned, but I don't think that genius is, the guy's made 2 movies, in my opinion, and I have not seen Tree of Life, but he's made 2 movies that I have seen that I consider to be great, great films, Badlands and The New World.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's my take, too. Exactly.
And then Thin Red Line and Days of Heaven are both good movies, but don't quite fall into the same category as those other 2. So I personally would
go with that, yeah.
Yeah, I would not call him a genius, but I would say that based on those 2 movies, and really based on the 4 movies, he deserves to be in, our upper echelon of film directors. He hasn't made a bad movie. He hasn't even made a mediocre movie as far as I'm concerned. But I don't think he's a genius, He does sort of hit the same note with all 4 of those movies, if we're being frank. We often make jokes about, a Terrence Malick movie called Tree of Life is literally going to be like a 3-hour shot of a tree or something like that, So I like him very much. I don't think he's overrated. I also don't think he's a genius.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Do you consider him to be overrated?
I don't know. I don't. No, I don't think so. I mean, based on those 2 movies, I mean, that's 50% of his output that we've seen. He's. So I think he's a very good filmmaker.
I think the first 15, 20 minutes of The New World is just astoundingly beautiful. Just unbelievable. I think the whole film, he does something that no other filmmaker has ever been able to do, and to actually make a version of that time in American history, or pre-American history, really, and make it work. None of the other films that have tried to tackle that have ever worked, and he does it brilliantly.
Right.
I really think and there's something to be said for that, because it's something that doesn't work, hasn't worked before, and he managed to do it. And I think the way he films, his style is the best. That's something that Ridley Scott and certainly that other guy, I don't know who did the one with Marlon Brando, I forget that movie, but that's really The New World is the standout film on the founding of America, really.
And the Phil Collins score is amazing.
Well, those movies are 32 years apart, Badlands 73 and New World came out in 2005. Mm-hmm. In between were 2 good movies, but not quite in that category. So I don't know. Calling him a genius just seems a little much. Genius would be 4 movies in the same category as New World and Badlands.
Right.
Then I would call him a genius, no matter what period of time it was stretched out over.
All of his movies are gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so's an Ansel Adams photo.
Right.
And that's how I felt about Days of Heaven. And Thin Red Line. I mean, I wasn't invested in any of it, but it's pretty to look at.
Yeah, and some of that, you got to give up to the cinematographer as well. So.
Yeah, but he achieves that kind of transcendence, that feeling where the images actually create a sustaining mood in The New World, I think, and Badlands.
Mm-hmm.
Badlands is really about the part of what makes it work so well. It's just the odd kind of behavioral observations, like the odd stuff that they do, the monosyllabic conversations they have, which are perfectly odd, and it creates its own. It lulls you into its own little world.
Mm-hmm. Martin Sheen's out of this world in that movie. Absolutely out of this
great.
world.
He was broke at the time. He talks about getting that role, which Terrence Malick thought he was too old for, and which he probably was too old for. But he talks about being broke and doing the stupid TV stuff to support his family of 4, and he got the call that he got the part as he was driving, and he had to pull over and cry uncontrollably when he found out. He knew it was a life changer, that part. And Sissy Spacek was unknown, and they're kind of I mean, odd. I use that word odd, but oddly beautiful together in that movie.
They were, yeah.